CPU cache is memory that is located either on the CPU or close to it on a motherboard. It is used to reduce the time it takes for the CPU to access data. Since it is located either on the core or close to it, using CPU cache is faster than accessing data from main memory via a bus. CPU cache uses SRAM, which is faster than the DRAM used in main memory. It stores copies of data and instructions from main memory that might be used by the CPU. It holds the data that the CPU thinks it is going to use over and over. CPU cache acts as a middleman between the CPU and main memory. It checks the cache first before checking main memory. This can reduce bottlenecks that result from accessing data from main memory. There are generally three levels of CPU cache. We will refer to them as L1, L2, and L3. L1 cache is always built in the CPU. This decreases the time it takes to access the data. L2 and L3 are also sometimes built into the CPU. Otherwise, they are located on the motherboard between the processor and main memory. L1 cache is the fastest memory in a computer system. L1 cache has the data that the CPU is most likely to need while completing a certain task, so it is accessed first. L1 cache is split into instruction cache and the data cache. L2 cache is slower than L1 cache, but larger in size. L2 cache holds data that is the next most likely to be accessed by the CPU. L3 cache is the largest cache memory unit, and also the slowest one. Levels 1 and 2 are dedicated to their own CPU core, but level 3 is shared between all the cores in the CPU, taking up a large chunk of space. When the processor is looking for data, it first tries to find it in the L1 cache. If the CPU is unable to find the data in L1, it then attempts to find it in L2. If the CPU is also unable to find the data in L2, it then looks for it in L3. If the CPU successfully finds the data in cache, this is called a cache hit. If the CPU does not find the data in cache, it tries to access it from main memory. This is called a cache miss. The following is a demonstration of the concepts we learned in this video. Here we have a CPU looking for a book which represents data. In this case, we do not have it in cache, so we have to take the bus to main memory to access the book. This can take quite a while. As opposed to having cache, which is located on the processor so that finding the data can be faster. When the processor is looking for data to carry out a process, it tries to find it in the L1 cache. If the data can't be found in the L1 cache, then it goes to L2 cache. L2 cache can be larger but slower than L1 cache. If the data can't be found in the L2 cache, the CPU continues down the chain to L3. If the CPU finds the data in any of the cache levels, this is called a cache hit.
Hit!
Otherwise, it is called a cache miss. And now the CPU has to take the bus to main memory.